Hey there, it's Neil. It is December 26th, so I'm back in the office after a short Christmas break, and I actually had time to record this video, which I wanted to do since the 24th, when I saw this article. So, the article's title is Russia's new floating nuclear power plant begins delivering electricity to the Arctic. And what the Russians did here was to develop a nuclear power plant on a barge. So you can see this is the barge, this is the diagram. Here's the actual the plant, and it's got a steam turbine which delivers power. It pulls up, and you hook it up, kind of like a sort of like an aquatic RV, and the power lines come out, and then they start using the power, and they powered up the Christmas tree first, just I guess for symbolic purposes. But this is actually super cool. And why is it super cool? It's a 70 megawatt plant, which is, not huge, but, certainly will power a thing or two. The reason why it's cool is because the biggest problem with nuclear power is, fear of meltdown. Now, historically, meltdowns have been very rare. Chernobyl was one, which was a whole series of catastrophes. Fukushima was another. 3 Mile Island was kind of a problem, but not really. I mean, it's the procedures in place actually did a very good job about preventing fallout. But yeah, that's what everybody's worried about. So the people, the NIMBYs, not in my backyards, they they don't want nuclear power plants, and besides, they take up a lot of room. The cooling towers are enormous; they're an eyesore, all that kind of stuff. So the reason I like this so much is that should a runaway reaction occur, you can scuttle the thing and just sink it. So, water is actually a great, a dense medium that will, prevent fallout from going into the atmosphere. It will go into the water, obviously, but that is better than being spread out in the atmosphere, going up into the winds, and being spread all around the world. Because I mean, yes, you know, if you look at there's a common refrain about surgical steel, that they actually try to get steel from World War II and earlier sunken battleships. And the reason for that is because with the atmospheric nuclear tests that were done, plus actually Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where the atomic bombs were used, everything has a very low level of radiation associated with it now. So but those battleships that were manufactured early in and prior to World War II, well, there was the pre-atomic era, so there was no radiation in the metal. So they salvage metal there and make surgical steel out of that, because you don't want any radiation sources being used in the implement to cut you open. Um, water is a pretty effective buffer for this kind of radiation. So anyway, that's why I like this. So I got to thinking, it's like, well, obviously this only works where there's water. But if you look at the world population, most people live near water. So I found this population density map of the world, and if we look at North America, we can see here's the DC to Boston kind of corridor. That's all pretty close to the water. There are some other places. I mean, here's Atlanta. Here's that's Chicago. We got that's probably Dallas. Mexico City here is fairly in interior. But then we got LA and San Francisco. Here in South America, it's even more pronounced. I don't know if that's Caracas or what. But yeah, most of these cities are on the water. If we go to Europe, a little bit more dense in the interior, but there's still plenty of population centers very close to the ocean. Same here in the Middle East, and India is very densely populated, and still, there's a good amount of people here that are on the coast where an application like this could be useful. And here's is that Indonesia or Malaysia? I think it's Indonesia. And then we got the coast of China here. Obviously, plenty of people on the interior, but still, plenty of people could be served. So, I mean, I don't have the math, but 50% of of people, something like that, live fairly close to a coastline. close enough where an application like this would be useful. And, there is no one-size-fits-all energy source that's perfect for everything. But I think this would be a great use case. So yeah, that was my cool thing for the day. And, I hope the STEM geeks get a kick out of it.